Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about my favorite lens, the Tamron 90mm macro lens f2.8. This is a phenomenal lens. It is tack sharp and it's on my camera most of the times. They call it the portrait macro. Let's see why. Alright, let's get right into this. The Tamron 90mm f2.8 macro lens. They call it the portrait macro, and they call it that for a reason, because it is phenomenal at both jobs, portrait work and macro work. Now, it comes in this nice box, and they do include this little bag. It's a nice, actually quite nice padded bag, Tamron logoing on the front, for storing your lens. I typically never use these. I have a hard case that my camera bodies and my lenses go into, so I typically end up having a collection of these that you can use for a wide variety of storing of other items if you want. But it does come with it, which is nice. It comes with the lens hood on here as well, which is fully detachable. Most of the build on here is plastic. This is the older version of the lens. There is a newer, maybe even two versions of this lens out, and the newer one does have image stabilization built in where this one does not. The lens hood, as I say, is plastic, and it's not totally necessary with this lens to use the lens hood. Most times I swear by these, but with this one, the lens, now I do have a filter on the front of this. The actual lens, I don't know if you can really see that, sits down a ways within the body of the lens, so there's less chance for the sun to hit the surface of the lens to create all that flaring that's going on. But just to be on the safe side, I normally run with the lens hood on, added protection, especially for banging and that, and if I need to set it down, it's kind of handy that way. I can stand it this way down while I'm changing or doing whatever else I need to do, so it kind of works as a little base for me as well. Probably not the best use for it, but there you go. Now, with this, it has autofocus capabilities, but it's a push-pull. On this little ring here, if you can see right there, it says autofocus or like manual focus, and you just push or pull. And when it's in this mode, you can see how it extends out. Now, when I pull up, I can turn this all I want, and it doesn't do anything. So once you get your focus set, you can lock your focus into place, and you can't accidentally change your focus by the focus ring. Now, because it's macro lens, there's a greater range of focusing that the lens is capable of to be able to do the macro work. Now, in compensating for that, to help limit the amount of lens hunting, and anybody that knows lens hunting, and you hear this thing going trying to find focus, especially in lower light, on the side of the lens they included a little switch that says full and limit. It's a focus limiter. Right now it's in full mode. When I do this, you can see how far that extends. Now if I bring that back down to about there and then put that on the limiter, you can see I can't bring that all the way back down anymore because I've limited the focus range of the lens. Works not just for macro work, but also for portrait. Once you're at a set distance, you can focus faster by setting the limiter, and the lens will only hunt within that range, which is really handy. And for macro work, the same thing again. So your lens isn't doing that big search like this, trying to find focus. You can limit it down by simply adjusting that switch on the side. So that is a very cool feature. The other thing I absolutely love with this lens is how sharp it is. This thing is on my camera probably about 95% of the time. For YouTube, I have tried using it on the camera body, but it just zooms in too much, and I don't really like the look of it. So I use the Nifty 50, which I created a video on, so you can check that out. I use that lens because it gives me a little wider angle to it. This narrows in a bit. Now, as I say, in a full frame, this is a 90mm lens. On a crop sensor, you're at a 135mm lens. It's ideal for doing portraits. Some people prefer over the 90. I find this is absolutely fantastic. And the bokeh in the background, beautiful from this. Nice little round, you get beautiful blurring in the background. Really, really nice effect in the background. I'm really happy with this. I've had this lens for years and never had an issue. As you can probably see, this isn't quite as black as it used to be. It's kind of graying off a little bit, but it's, like I say, it's years old, and I've never had an issue, and it remains tack sharp to this day. For portrait work, I'll show you some images now so you can have a look at it. Most of the time I do studio work, so you're not going to see that dreamy bokeh background, but I have included some of the images that I've done with portraits outdoors so you can have a look at the trees and the sky areas and that, so you can see how you get that nice dreamy background. Without further ado, let's have a look at some portraits and see what you think of how lens did. All right, like I say, this thing lives on my camera body because I absolutely love it for doing portraits. Absolutely wonderful. I can't say enough about this. The only other time, the other lens I basically use for portraits is a Nikon 70x200 f2.8, and I will do a video on that one as well and show you its capabilities and that. But on the whole, this one sits on my camera body all the time. Now, for macro, because I do like doing a bit of the macro work now and again, especially if you get into some food photography and stuff like that, or some product, you can get in really tight because this is a 1:1 lens. You can get in nice and tight. Use the lens limiter on the side for your focusing, makes life a little easier. So let's have a look at some of the macro images that I have created with this lens. Let me know what you think. Those are pretty cool. The leaf in there really close, and the lilac there, the color and everything is beautiful, but you can get right in tight to those petals and that, and see the little parts of the flower. So very, very cool. This lens is called the Portrait Macro, like I say, for a reason, because it is phenomenal at doing portrait work, and it is phenomenal at doing macro work. Very, very handy lens, and it's not in the pro range. It's a lower quality lens, basically, so the price tag is quite a bit lower than, you know, you're not spending $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 on a lens. This is down into the hundreds. I think it's around $600 or something like that. I'm not positive because it's been quite a while since I've looked at the pricing, but it's not that expensive of a lens, but it is tack sharp, and it is absolutely phenomenal, and you need to check it out. You can see the work that I've done with it, and pretty much the bulk of the portraits you've seen on my website, on Facebook, they've all been shot with this lens. My Dancers in a Dream, 90% of that was shot with this lens. I did do some of the 50mm lens just because I needed to get in a little tighter in that to the model with the camera, but other than that, it was all this lens. I swear by this thing, and no, I am not sponsored by Tamron in any way, shape, or form, but I gotta say, for an off-brand, meaning not Nikon, Canon, Sony, Tamron nailed it with this one. Absolutely nailed it. It is a phenomenal lens. All right, that's it for this one. If you're new to this channel, please subscribe. Hit that bell notification so you're aware when I post new videos. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. It really helps this channel out. So, until the next time.